Regarded as the fastest growing sector of the Nigerian economy, the telecommunications sector has recorded over $32 billion investment, over 152 million subscribers, and close to 100 million internet subscriptions, according to statistics from the Nigerian Communications Commission. This week's episode of the program takes a look at the Ministry of Communication and its plan to develop the sector for revenue generation. Hello there, thank you for joining me on the program this week. I'm Gloria Umezuki. The telecommunications industry contributes 10% to the nation's gross domestic product, and this is far below the sector's potential. Now, if well supported and managed, it could provide additional jobs and other value additions to stimulate growth in the economy. I had a conversation with the Minister of Communications, Barrister Adebayo Shitu, on the plan to make the sector the nation's cash cow. Well, coming up next,
including revenue capital items.
The Minister of Communications addressed members of the House of Representatives on his mandate and plan to diversify the economy through the sector. Take a listen. The Minister of Communications, Barrister Adebayo Shitu, arriving the Green Chamber of the National Assembly as part of the federal lawmakers' sectorial debate.
Distinguished leaders of the House of Representatives.
The minister spoke on his mandate and shared his plan on how to diversify the nation's economy using information and communications technology.
With assets of NIPOS, including revenue capital items and other working facilities, estimated about 300 billion naira, the courier industry, if properly modernized and put into effective use, has the capacity to create hundreds of thousands of indirect jobs for the unemployed Nigerian youth, support in bridging the digital to financial divide, and contribute about 10% to the national GDP.
However, some of the federal lawmakers have observations concerning his policies and plans.
Is there any way your ministry and the Ministry of Power and the telecom companies operating in Nigeria can come together and collaborate to enhance or to help in the power sector that we have in Nigeria?
Honourable Minister, I also want to know what you are doing with NCC as regards the poor signals, call drops, and what you have you in communication sector.
Telcos have no business providing electricity for themselves. Electricity is usually taken for granted. And we do know that telcos necessarily, particularly with regard to their BTS, their mass, they rely on 24-hour electricity. So if all other indices operate in Nigeria as they operate in any other country, but where those other countries, they can take electricity for granted, that means in regard to Nigeria, there's extra expenditure for telecommunication companies to engage in. So necessarily, they must pass the burden to, their subscribers.
The minister revealed that a bill to unbundle information communications technology infrastructure is being drafted. He hopes that the bill would increase private sector participation in building the nation's ICT infrastructure.